AM 560. The Answer.
Changing the world in real time. You are living through American revitalization. As America not only becomes great again for the people who play by the rules, pay taxes, but as America no longer has to be ashamed to be the youngest country with the highest quality of life, because we're the only one not built on the power of government, but on the rights of the citizen. Not on the religion of government, but on the ability for the citizens to have any religion, even none at all. That cannot exist in Islamo-Nazi-run areas, where if you wiggle too much, they kill you. And in 2 days, 50,000 people. Squirrel, did you know this? This is staggering reality, right? Because we're from Chirac, got big neighborhoods around and the whole rest of it. We keep thinking the rest of the country is like that. Only 4.2% of municipalities, licensed municipalities, have more than 50,000 people in it. Did you know that, Squirrel? I didn't know that either. Well, then it goes to show you why people should care about a government that killed 50,000 in 2 days of its own people.
As you can see, the Islamic regime, they're not actually able to fight the United States and Israel. The only thing that they can do is murder innocent, unarmed Iranians, and that's what they're doing.
And now what you have to understand is all of these European suck-ons, all of this NATO suck-on, have been robbing, financially raping America, like California, like New York, like Illinois. They can't exist without us either. None of them can. Here is the leader of NATO, Rutte, whatever, Euro trash.
So when President Trump is doing good stuff, I will praise him. And I don't mind him publishing text messages. And if anyone thinks here, again, that the European Union or Europe as a whole can defend itself without the US, keep on dreaming. You can't. We can't. We need each other. But for Europe, if you really want to go it alone, and those of you who are planning for that, forget that you can ever get there with 5%. It will be 10%. You have to build up your own nuclear capability. That costs billions and billions of euros. You will lose then, in that scenario, you would lose the ultimate guarantor of our freedom, which is the US nuclear umbrella. Good luck.
Well, Rutte, what they could do if they wanted to make some quick money, what they could do is they could go to California. They could go to California and just financially steal from the American taxpayer the way domestic and international and illegal scumbags have been robbing Americans out of one state.
$146 billion. Health and Human Service officials confirmed that number to Chris Rufo as the staggering amount of fraud in a single program in Gavin Newsom's state Medicaid system.
Boy, that California is a real dunghole. Real upswing of being a low-life rat pig. And you know how it all gets started, Squirrel? It gets started from stealing elections. Stealing elections. That's how it always works. That's what they don't want you to know.
There is no widespread fraud. There is no deception.
California Elections Chief, Secretary of State Dr. Shirley Weber with that message after President Donald Trump earlier this week made this claim on social media, alleging the entire elections process in California, in particular the voting itself, in his words, is rigged.
No, it's just a lie. Everything's a lie. The whole thing is a lie. The whole election was a lie.
A former Lodi City Council member is headed to jail for a 2020 election fraud scheme. Shakir Khan took a no-contest plea deal for stashing more than 40 ballots at his home for the 2020 election. He also used his personal information to register 70 voters.
The most secure election in American history.
A judge sentenced him to 3 years in jail with a third year suspended and served under mandatory supervision.
So think about that. They steal elections. And we have to suffer for 4 years under a thieving rat traitor like Joe Biden and his entire administration. And this pig gets less time than that. Maybe it's when they figured out that they could hack the machines after they couldn't explain to themselves. We thought that big, fat Duchess of Chafington was a shoo-in. How did she win?
Also, I actually held a demonstration for my colleagues here at the Capitol, where we brought in folks who, before our eyes, hacked election machines. Those that are being used in many states, but are not.
Now, she was done getting stooped by Willie Brown then. Squirrel, she was a senator then. That was before she became
the vice president. But that's when she figured out, you know what, we can hack. We ran a little test. Not only did Donald Trump overwhelm the Duchess of Chafington, Hillary Clinton, but we could have stole that one. Let's make sure we steal the next one. We'll do it through a combination of ways, but the plausible excuse will be mail-in ballots.
Everybody, so this week, Donald Trump basically issued an executive order to attack your ability to vote by mail. And of course, the reality is that he goes down to his resort at Mar-a-Lago and does what? He votes by mail. So he wants to be able to do it, but he doesn't want to.
That's because you schizophrenic transvestites and not keep trying to shoot him. Stupid. That's why. You're dangerous, especially when you dress up in like the other sex. Then you're really freaky and dangerous. And when it comes to when you're in charge of elections, even here in the great state of Florida, if it's a Democrat, they steal.
Florida GOP is weighing in after a Palm Beach County volunteer was accused of stealing election equipment. Authorities say John Panosini is accused of...
It would always made my grandfather upset. But then again, he would remind me, Mussolini was an Italian, too. They got scum communists and socialists with Italian last names. This is the one, Squirrel. Do you remember when they said, no, Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago, he's going to be represented by a Democrat? Not so fast. Because when Democrats are in charge of elections, you do what you were born to do. Dogs got to bark, birds got to fly, and Democrats got to steal.
Stealing sensitive computer equipment from a voter registration terminal. It happened during a March 19th training session at the Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections office just days before the special election for Florida House District 87. Election officials have not indicated any disruption to the voting systems tied.
Well, that was the day they caught him. Since not only are they going to go under investigation, but if they're found guilty, this whore might get arrested. The so-called representative might finally end up where she belongs, behind the bars.